Monica.
Hi.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
This is awesome.
It is. It's exciting. Technology is wonderful.
Yeah, we can talk from other sides of the world.
That's awesome. Where are you at? Are you in Canada?
I'm in Canada. I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
That's awesome. Actually,
Okay, I have to ask you about your eyes. So
yes.
I get your histamine levels are high. I'm sure you have like allergies or itchy eyes,
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, I have dry eyes sometimes, and it's like, God, it's driving me nuts.
Yeah, I felt that. It's because your histamine levels are high. Because of the anxiety that you have from it raises your cortisol. And when cortisol is high, histamine comes up with it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
And so does the fat too, by the way.
We're always passed over because I have written down that you keep hearing things in your house, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. So there are days where I'm like, what's that? What's this? What's that? Yes, yeah. There is.
That's your grandfather, correct?
You know what? I don't know my grandfather. So if it is, that'd be wonderful.
Okay.
Is it on my mom's side or my dad's side?
So there's a big belly right away. The hair is very short. He must have passed when he was older because the hair was white. This is somebody who was black, but he had a big belly. Who might that be?
I don't know. Could that be? It almost sounds, oh my God, it almost sounds like my uncle, actually.
And were you close with him?
Yeah, my Uncle Larry, yeah.
Because I think it's definitely somebody you know, because I felt a very strong connection for you and that you'd be sad when he was gone.
Yeah, actually, it probably was my Uncle Larry, because it really, he was amazing. He was life. He was just life. He was just full of life. And actually, believe it or not, he lived in Canada. A lot of my relatives actually lived in Canada, in Toronto and Montreal.
Crazy. Well, know that he stepped forward, and
good to see you, girl.
Good to see you too.
You're looking good, girl.
Thank you. I put a little makeup on today. I had appointments. So yeah, the last time I had read you, I think it was like so late at night, and I like looked so tired in that video.
No, you were fine. You were fine. You don't need to put makeup on for me, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. I just kind of feel like sometimes underneath all this makeup, I really look like John Lithgow. You know what I'm saying?
That's a bit of a stretch.
I know, but it gets a laugh every time. So I'm just going to keep on using it until I can't use it anymore. So you're welcome.
That definitely got a laugh from me. And I've seen John Lithgow recently, so you don't look like him.
Yeah, no, not like Sir Winston Churchill John Lithgow. I'm talking like Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh yes, Third Rock from the Sun. No, you definitely still don't look like him there. I mean, he freaking looks like a nutty professor on that.
He's all decrepit. Maybe that'll be me in 20 years. Hopefully not. Let's put positive vibes out there. All good things will come.
Won't happen. We won't let it happen.
Thank you. So how are you? Tell me, it's been a while since we did the reading in July, and you know, I wanted to follow up with you. How did that impact you and your family?
Actually, it impacted me greatly. I'm going to tell you why, because number one, I think the main thing was being surprised at the fact that it was my uncle who came through. And I think that was really solid, because the way you described him and the way, you know, and when I told my mom, she actually had to remind me. She said, yeah, Arlene, you called me and said, hey, how did he die? Did he die quickly? And I said, Mom, I totally forgot about that. And so that's why I was saying there were so many things that you said to me, like, no, I don't remember. And then my mom remembered it. And that was crazy to me. So she said, no, Arlene, you called me and you were like, you know, did he die quickly? Did he, you know, whatever? And I said, I did ask that, Mom. And she said, yeah, you did. So
Yeah.
yeah, it did impact her, and she was shocked, by the way, because I said, "Mom, I'm talking to Julie tonight. So what you got to tell me?" And she said, and she says, "Oh, let her know." She says she was on point.
Perfect. I have the goosebumps everywhere. And it's always so validating for me too, because I am just the messenger, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
spirit that has the agenda, not me. Like
Of
I don't
course.
even know what's gonna come through. Before your reading, it was
Right.
all empath messages, right? We're talking about your sugar cravings, we're talking about this and that. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden I get a knock on the door and it's spirit calling and he's talking about, all these things.
Right.
And right. And you at first didn't know, which does happen to people sometimes, because when somebody dies, we feel kind of
Mhm.
traumatized by it, don't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And I think in my case, because, I think it was a great distance for us, because my uncle actually lived in Canada, actually. And, but he still was close. He was a close member. There was 12 siblings in my mom's family. And so he was on the bottom half with my mom. So it was like 10, 11, 12. And I've always seen him. He has been always part of my life. I just truly loved him, and there was no greater force than my Uncle Larry. So wish I had a pitch to pull up and say, "Hey, here he is," but I forgot to do that.
But I mean,
But
that's so great about what came through in your first reading was he validated that connection with you. He
he definitely
acknowledged.
Yes, he definitely did, and I'll be honest with you, I was actually kind of surprised because I was like, wow, you know why? As an adult, because I was a child when I knew him, and when
Mm.
he passed, I was about 21, 22 or so, something like that. And when he passed, I didn't know that he really had the connection to me until my mom actually said to me, and this is interesting, Julie, by the way, she told me this. She said, "You know what? Your uncle had a real connection." And that's what she used, the word connection. She said he had a connection to you because this is the reason why he had the connection. Because my mom and my other aunt, my aunt Veronica, we were only girls in the family, and most of the other siblings had boys, I guess. So apparently, and because my aunt Veronica and my aunt and my mom and my uncle Larry, they were all close.
I'm getting a knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting
And
a knocking on the door. Larry is here. I have
wow.
goosebumps everywhere. And he just wanted to step forward and he said, that is not why. Do you want to
Why
know the
then,
reason
Uncle
why?
Larry?
He said it's because you're smart. I have goosebumps. Do you have the shivers?
Wow. You know what? That would be something he would say.
Right?
So I'm excited. That's totally stoked. That's totally cool. That is totally cool.
And he said,
I thought,
never underestimate that. And he's pointing, he's got very long fingers. Like,
yes,
I'm
he
like, did
does.
you play he does, right? I'm like, did you play the
He
piano? And
does.
he's like, never underestimate that, young lady, that your intelligence is what's most attractive.
Tell him I love him. Well, he hears me. I love you, Uncle Larry. Thank you so much
He's
for believing
going,
in me.
he's going like this. Was that a thing that you guys did or that you do?
You know what? It's you know what? It's the French in him, I think, too. Living in Canada and all that.
I love it.
So
I love it. He just put his hand on your right shoulder and he said it's gonna
wow.
be okay. So, and he's
Mm,
saying like this is about family. He said unexpected, out of the blue. So the family thing that you're praying for, it is going to resolve. There's a highlight to the
wow.
months of March. That's obviously not this year because tomorrow's the last day of March. I mean, who knows though? Anything could
Right.
happen. I'm
Right.
not being given a year, but he said
Right.
out of the blue.
Wow. Wow. And wow, he must have heard the conversation my husband and I had today. So I'll just say that
Okay.
it was about I'll bring it up. It was about family, it was about our daughter. And we, still the ups and the peaks and the valleys of it.
Right.
And we were talking about family today and how important it was for us to do things together as a family and to have that connection. And my Uncle Larry was there for that
Now,
conversation.
obviously, because he just brought that up. You and I have not
Wow.
talked about that.
No, we have not. We have not talked
So
about that.
like that's
This
not
is
something
all
I
new.
would know. So he was right there with you at that time. So he is watching over you, which I kind of forgot about, but he's going, you, I did tell you that last time that he's watching over you. He's
Yes,
around
you do.
and he's really emphasizing the unexpected. So there's going to be a
Mm,
growing that happens. And especially for you in the month of September, where I feel like
mm.
in a way, it's not that you ever let it go because that's your daughter, but
Right.
something's going to happen inside of you. It's like a
Mhm.
feeling, like I'm seeing like a feeling happening. It's like a warm feeling, like a healing. Okay. So they're allowing
Mhm.
me to feel the warmth and they just said it's a healing that's
Mhm.
happening. They're trying to give me that. And then
Wow.
suddenly something breaks through and you get like a phone call or a letter. Like it's a sudden communication
And you know what? That's so
and an ownership too, saying, but
right.
don't expect it. He's like, don't
Wow.
expect it. And that's when it will come through.
Wow. You know what? And that's wonderful to hear because you know what? I think that what that gives me is a sense of hope. And that's what we've been trying to look for. Some sense of hope, some sense of, hey, this is going to resolve itself. And that's so good to hear. And it gives me something to look forward to because we were just saying to each other, my husband and I were just saying, we have to figure out a way to, get through this because
Yeah.
it's peaks and valleys for us.
Well, yeah, family is so hard and it hurts so deep
Yeah.
when a family member, someone is off track or someone is missing or not participating. We feel it. It's a
Oh, yeah.
loss and we cannot just get over it because Oprah and Gail say so,
Right.
whoever you're into on TV. Like and I mean, even Oprah talked about how she was holding on to all this unforgiveness about somebody and then she ran into them and she realized like they were living their lives. It's different with people,
Mhm.
but when it comes to family,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so your
Exactly.
Uncle Larry is wanting to give you that hope. He's wanting to give you that peace and letting you know it is going to resolve itself. But the big emphasis and message he wants me to get through is it's not your fault.
Mm, mm. Wow. 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 Wow.
So were
That's
you wondering that? Have you been kind of torturing
I
yourself?
have been. Yeah, I have been. I have been. As a matter of fact, wow. Just this past weekend. Yeah. This
It is
weekend I've been
not your fault. He emphasizes that.
wow, wow, wow.
And he said,
That's
let that child go. He said, let
mm,
her do what she's going to do and she will come back to you.
yeah, and that's pretty much I think you know what I think he's been communicating that through so many people too. They're like, no, she'll come back, she'll come back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't see it. And the other day I was like, oh my God, I made such a big mistake. What did I do? And
Right.
so know that to get that validation, ooh, I just got chills. To get that validation
That's your
is
validation that what you're hearing is true. So now
mhm,
there's two parts to miracles. One part
mhm,
is receiving the message or the instruction. Your Uncle Larry
mhm,
gave you the message. There's like some instruction in that, let go, right? Then
right.
then there's part two, which is how do you deal with the ego? Because the ego loves to doubt and go, maybe this is too good to be true or whatever. So this
Oh,
is where we take the ego and we go, I may not see a way, but I trust that there is a way.
you know what? That's a conversation I had today with a friend of mine. So that's so crazy. I swear to you, I will. I got my Bible right here. I swear on it. Honestly, she just said to me today. She says, Arlene. She says you got to trust yourself, believe in yourself. And I said, you know what? I said my angels brought you to me today to hear this validation. And it took me straight out of the funk that I was in, like this dark night of the soul type thing.
Right.
And it took me straight out because I was like, I gotta be good for Julie today. So but they brought her to me to tell me,
Yeah.
you know, validate to me exactly what you just said.
Yeah. I just heard it now. And that's the thing about holy divine messages is you're not going to hear them just from me. you know
Right.
you get it from me and then the angels will send you other signs too, not just because it's coming from me, the angels will send you like grandparents or loved ones from the other side to give you signs or
Right.
222 on the clock, right, letting you know what you heard is true. And it's
Yep.
and it's got nothing to it's all of us, we're always in this
Yeah.
disbelief when we hear good things are going to happen.
Right. And
That's
you
what
know
we
what?
have.
that's always the ego fight. It's
That's
always
what I
the
was going to say.
it's but wow, it's that I think of it in terms of Star Trek, and I've said this earlier today to a friend of mine actually too. I said, it's your ego. It's like Captain Kirk fighting himself in the old days. He's beating himself up, he's fighting himself, and that's what the ego is right now to me. It's like I'm
Right.
trying to fight it, and I'm trying to be like, no, I got to let you go. And I know one thing that I've heard you say before. I'm sure I've seen on several of your uh, websites and things of that nature that it's Archangel Michael to cut that cord, to cut the cord, just to let
Cut the cord
let
of fear.
yeah, a fear of ego, because the ego is so driving, and I gotta cut that, because that's what allows my disbelief, and not you, but myself.
So let me ask you a question. I'm genuinely curious here. So when you have seen this video or podcast or whatever I said, cut the cords of fear, have you tried doing it before?
Yes, I have actually, but you know what? The ego got in the way. And it's like, oh, it's not happening. This is not happening. You're not going to get the results that you think you're going to get.
Okay.
That's what to play.
Okay. Because I just heard something to that effect. So I just wanted to kind of check in. In
Mm-hmm,
my experience, as far as what works for me, is two things. I
mm-hmm,
get scared too, even though I work with angels. I wake up
mm-hmm,
in the morning and I have anxiety about XYZ too. So the first
mm-hmm.
thing I do in the morning is I ask Archangel Michael to vacuum me more than cord cutting, because
I like that.
you can cut cords if you've had a conflict with somebody or there's some fear attachment. That works really well. But for
Mm-hmm,
ego, I always like ask Michael to vacuum me, and I say, please vacuum me of all of my fear in all directions of time, known or unknown. Because we think we
mm-hmm.
have fear here, but we may have fear over here too, right?
Right,
So I say
right.
vacuum all of it. I give him that permission, because that's what angels need, is our permission, because they cannot interfere in our free will choices.
That is true. And you know what I tell them? Interfere, interfere, please, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Your angels are laughing. They love that. And like, oh my God, that's what they need, right? They need that entrance that they can get in there. And then you breathe. I do deep breathing, right?
Yep.
Which is really important. They breathe really deeply, like the belly breathing, right? And
Yes,
and
yes.
then I can feel the suction like coming of the fear out through the crown, because he holds that energy vacuum here. And then once
Yeah.
I feel like that's done, I say, Archangel Michael, now fill me with your diamond white light.
Mm,
So he
mm,
reverses the vacuum and then he fills me with white light, sparkles. So I
mm.
feel like, you know,
That's awesome.
lighter. Yeah. So that's what I
Yeah.
do in the morning. And then that helps. And I might have to do it at the end of the day. It can
Hmm.
happen, right? It's clearing the fear that
Yeah.
builds up. And then the
Yeah.
other thing I do is when there's a situation I'm believing for, that I don't
Mm,
have faith for, is I will
yeah.
fake it till I make it. I will say, thank you, God. I will. I will say, thank you, God, that you're working this out. Thank you,
Right.
God. I
Right.
may not see a way, but I trust you have a way. I'm giving it to you. And I imagine giving that to God.
And that's such a good way to look at it. Um, I know for me, like even today, like I said, I had a tugging even last night. My cards were calling me, and they were like, Arlene, Arlene. They're like, it was like someone going, Arlene, Arlene. Like I felt someone tapping me, and it could have been my uncle too. And I'm like, I was like, okay, let me pull out the cards and see what's going on.
Wait a minute. I have to ask you, because I just tuned into who that was. Who was the woman who died who had this? Was that your hair? Okay. Because she was about to like hit me or something, because I said, is that a weave? And she said, no, don't you say that. That was my real hair. She goes, that was an afro. And I said, okay, sorry, because I don't mean to offend.
Really?
Yes. So who is this woman? She is feisty. She's gorgeous though. She goes, thank you. Very petite in the body. And she wore long dresses. This looks like very 1982 with the long, remember in the 80s we had the long
About this
neck.
before. I I don't know if this could be, okay, there could be two possible people I'm thinking.
Big
Okay,
apple.
but I'm not sure if it's my dad's mother because
She
she's
keeps
feisty.
saying no afro.
She said
No, she said oh my God. Okay. She wore a lot of makeup. So now I'm getting an image of a lot of makeup and she was tiny.
it's my godmother. It's my
She said, "You
godmother.
can call me your fairy godmother, please." Just because that was me tapping you
Yeah.
on your shoulder.
Oh, wow. It's my godmother who's
You
coming
know who
in.
this is.
Yeah, it's my godmother. It's gotta be my
And
godmother.
she's
But my
correcting me.
godmother wore wigs, by the way.
Oh, that's why she's getting so defensive. Because I also have a
They
black
were
daughter. So
beautiful. They were
I
beautiful.
thank you. So I looked at her hair and I'm like, I love all of your hair, but is that real? And she it's just it's
It's I remember, you know what? That's so funny because you told me this in my last reading about my godmother.
I
Because you
did.
said, yeah, you said that she's petite, and you said you saw makeup, a lot of makeup on her, and you also said you smelled perfume at the time. So, do you smell perfume at the time from her? Is she giving you a sense of perfume?
She's just giving me a sense of attitude.
Which is crazy because my God. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how this is. My godmother, she's
She's laughing, but she's going like this, like she's gonna choke me because I'm talking about her hair. And she's laughing though. She thinks she's hilarious because she's like, "Don't get it wrong. Don't get it wrong." And I'm like, okay, okay. And she's adorable though. And she said she's always with you. She goes, "The reason you have
yeah,
so much energy is because of me." She goes, "I'm always talking to you." And she's like, "You
right.
better hear." She goes, "You better hear me. You better fucking."
Wow, it's probably my godmother. That's all I could think of
She's
because my
saying,
godmother,
she's like, "You
she's
think?"
sassy.
And then she went like this and whipped out a wand, like very but sarcastically.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I knew my godmother mostly in my younger years,
Right.
and so to hear this, and she was always pushing like some money in my hand or something.
Oh.
So she was always my fairy godmother that way. Yes. And she always made me feel special. And there's no day
I just
that
heard her
I don't.
say, "Ain't nothing changed, ain't nothing changed."
Go ahead, girl.
She's like, "I can slap your hand now too, but it means something different. It's wake up, use those cards." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, someone woke me up last night and told me you got to use the card. You got to use cards. But I thought it was my angels. I'm thinking, okay, my angels are waking me up. They want me to use the
She just
cards.
put her hands on her hips. And she goes,
Uh-oh.
"First of all, I'm the new Tinkerbell. And second of all," she goes, "I am your angel."
And you know what? It doesn't surprise me because I
Oh, she's
knew
fairy energy.
she's definitely my godmother.
Oh my
She
God.
amazing energy. She's just amazing. She's an
She's
amazing
trying to give
person.
you a boost. She says she's like performing for you because she's trying to give you a boost. She's like, "I love you. You can do this. Everything's going to be okay." She says, "Don't sweat it." She says, "Just keep moving forward." And she's just saying, "Do what it's got to do. Like, just keep moving forward."
Tell her I will. As long as she's by my side, I will.
Yeah.
And
She's like, "I'm not
and
going nowhere." And then she just looks
I
at her and goes, "Where am I going to go?"
too much. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad she came in. That's awesome. That is like awesome. And you know what? Yeah,